aerodynamics matters so much more than I gave it credit for initially.
Yeah,
I did not think it was as big of a deal as it is until you see two golf balls that have the same core or same aero package, but they're on different core mantle configurations. And you go, well, why would you ever put two of the same aero packages on two different balls? Well, it's cheaper. It's really, really expensive to design a different aero package for
it's
every different
hard.
golf
It's
ball. And
hard.
it's hard. It's dimple depth, it's curvature, it's the radius, it's all these things that it's like, man, like I might go as far as say like aerodynamics might be the most important part of a golf ball that people don't talk about. Levels, Tony. Nobody cares at all. But what we do care about, what's up, everybody? How you living? No putts given. We're back. Ball Testa Palooza. We have myriad golf ball things to talk about and discuss. To the surprise of no one, Tony, Scotty Scheffler wins again. Do we even need to? I mean, it's
Did
almost
he like I because it was like
did he?
I
That's
was
right. You don't
out
like
on the I was
yeah.
out on the course Sunday afternoon,
With the golf
and
bros. Yeah.
and the guys are no
Oh,
the golf bros were Thursday, and then I played again Thursday or Friday, and then I ended up playing again Sunday.
okay.
And the guys I'm playing with are super invested in it. They're checking. Oh, like, oh my God, Scotty's slipping. I don't know what happened. That could all be nonsense. I have no idea because I'm trying to golf my own ball, as they say. I don't care what Scotty's doing in that moment. I got enough to deal with.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
all right. Scotty won. I'm shocked.
yep.
Totally shocked.
Shocked again.
Wow.
Two I-10s. Again, tailor-made. Make him his own irons. Let's go. Need the Proto
Make him his
SS's.
own everything. Just give me the
Yes.
Scheffler bag.
Just give me a Scheffler line. Yeah, that guy's amazing. It's that, and then we got
Next
Tour
year,
Championship.
that's the rumor, right? The next year's line is the SS26.
Yes, SS26, Scotty Scheffler 26. I mean, my word, could do worse. But
Get it done.
are you wearing your everyday pant, Tony? This is a weird question, but what pants are you wearing, Tony?
I'm actually not wearing my everyday pant, but I do love my everyday pant. The thing is, that's the thing. It's an everyday pant, and so I only have one pant, which is enough for one day, two, maybe three if I don't spill something. But I tend to eat a lot of yogurt during the day, and so invariably,
That's a whole different story. Yeah,
yeah. So I need
a lot of probiotics
everyday
going
pants.
on over there.
Yeah,
I'm not wearing my everyday pant, but I'm still sleeping in my cozier sheets, which I love every day. The thing that they're expensive, so again, we're gonna help you out. 40% off. Use the code NoPutts. That's all you got to do. They are expensive, but when you're taking almost half off, not nearly as expensive as it turns out. That's just math.
Shop for yourself, shop for your wife. Make yourself happy. The sheets, again, I never thought I'd be a big sheet guy, but here I am.
I know.
Everyday pant, again, awesome for lounging around the house or just being out about the town, if you will. If you are man about town in a casual kind of way. Again,
Doing your about town.
It is the pant that convinced me that I don't actually need belt loops on everything. So
That says it all, people.
it's a breakthrough.
No putts. Use a code.
Breakthrough.
We'll link it below.
A revelation and panting for me.
Sounds some dog tie in there. I don't know. Anyway, golfing balls. We released our was every other year. Now it's going to become every year
I think so.
test.
We're trying.
That's what we're trying. This is a golf ball performance test. We're looking at performance attributes of golf ball. What do they do when hit?
And more specifically, what do they do differently compared to kind of the next one down the table? So
Exactly. So we went out to Arizona. Again, we're not going to go into all this. You can read the article about what we did and that kind of stuff. But I want to kind of dig into a bunch of different questions about the golf ball test. And I think kind of where I want to start is there's a lot of information in this first article. Like your average consumer, even your kind of, gearhead that reaches, starts to kind of reach into the article, where do they start? What should they do with this information? Like how do you use this information for good?
Yeah, broadly, what I've always said, right? Well, this is not necessarily a fitting tool. Right? Balnamic is there if you want to do kind of
Hmm.
a web fit, and if you have the opportunity to get fit for a golf ball, I would recommend you doing that. But I look at this as an opportunity for golfers to say, what am I playing right now? I know what I'm playing, I hope, unless you're, hey, I play what I find, in which case I can't help you. But maybe there's a ball that you play regularly, a ball you really like, and you have a sense of what that does, and you think, all right, but what would I like this to do differently? Is there something that would maybe be similar to this off the driver, but give me more spin around a green, for example, or fly higher, lower, whatever it happens to be you're looking for off the iron. So it really
Hmm.
is kind of a comparative tool to say, hey, all right, I'm playing this. I would like it to do something differently. What might do that different thing without giving me compromises in other places, or what may give me compromises I can live with, I guess.
Hmm. Yeah, and so I think that's part of it. The precursor part of that is like, hey, how do I know what I need? At one point, we're going to get to some questions people asked about this, and that's one that came up is like, how do I know if I need more spin, less spin, a higher trajectory, a lower trajectory? And again, that's more of a ball fitting question that isn't necessarily going to be answered by the data that we provided. But it's a great point in that you should find a way to get your baseline information. You have to do that, start to figure out, okay, what do I need? Where would you go, or how would you start that if you're like, hey, I don't know if I'm playing the right ball. We've said 80% people are playing the wrong ball, but how do you know you're playing the wrong ball if you don't know what you should be using to determine whether or not you're playing the right ball or the wrong ball?
Yeah, let's answer that right. That 80% number comes loosely, like we've heard. It's like Bridgestone's number is
Yeah.
72 to 78%. So you round up a little bit, you can get to 80. Titleist, similar numbers from what they see in their fitting. Guys who, when you come in for a fitting versus what they end up being fit into. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't want to say universally everybody's playing the wrong ball, but
Three-quarters of
it's
people, it seems like, is maybe
well,
fair.
it's an interesting category. Again, it's really the only one that I can think of where you have an entire categories of products, a large swath of products which are made for reasons other than performance.
Right.
Right? Like you have, oh well, this one feels really soft. You have an entire category of soft. You have an
Hmm.
entire category of brightly colored things, right? And you don't see
Hmm.
that in the driver category. You don't see
No.
like, hey, yeah, this driver look in no meaningful way is this as good as our premium driver. This
Uh-huh.
is a low performance driver, but it feels really good when you hit it. Or it's a low
Right.
performance driver, but check out the paint we put on it. Like
Right.
that's like you don't
Right.
get that in other categories like you do with the golf ball. So
Right.
yeah, it's just kind of interesting in that regard, I guess. Or I find
Yeah.
it interesting.
Yeah. So again, we test drivers, irons, wedges, green side, which we kind of approximate is kind of a 35-yard pitch shot.
Yeah,
Um,
that number kind of comes from an aggregation, kind of an average as I've asked around, because every box or nearly every box will say green side spin, and it's always high, right?
right.
Nobody ever says like green side spin dog shit.
Right.
It's always
Oh,
high. So I started asking around. I was like, all right, green side, what is that? How
yeah.
long is a green side shot? And it was always kind of, some of them were like 20, some 50, and we got a lot in the 35 to 40 range. I'm like, yeah, that's a
Hmm.
good number. That's a nice, happy in the middle range.
Hmm.
I think it's a number a lot of golfers find themselves around quite often on the golf course, right? Like I miss the green, but not by much.
Hmm.
I am literally on the side of the green, so
I'm
that's
hence green
that.
side. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and so again, people can go to the article, look at all the different data, and we can kind of maybe run through our recommendations at each of the different swing speeds. How did we reach these recommendations? Because like we said, that you've often said this, and it took me a while to come around to this a little bit, but you say, hey, there isn't when from a performance standpoint, there isn't really any such thing as a bad golf ball. What do you mean by that?
Yeah. Again, strictly from performance. From a manufacturing standpoint, there are some bad balls.
Right.
But in terms of performance, you have a range, right? Like these balls, like, Pro V1, I think is a good example, or how it's. I don't even know if positioned is the right word, but kind of how the market understands it, right? Like this is a safe middle of the market, works well for a lot of golfers, kind of that middle of the bell curve ball. And
Mm-hmm.
then you get out, and keeping this in the context of the Titleist lineup, right? You get kind of, you drag out to these perimeters, stretch the lines out. You get into things like left dash or AVX, where Titleist will tell you they fit a smaller percentage of golfers. They're more of a niche offering, but
Mm-hmm.
they're not bad. Right? These are good golf balls that aren't designed to work for the highest percentage of golfers, and that's kind of the range you get. And so, I do find in testing it's easy to get lost in the middle, because you find that to varying extents, a lot of what's in this test is designed to kind of try and work for everybody.
Right.
And so when you get to the balls that have kind of unique performance characteristics that kind of stand out, even in a way, even if it's a way like, hey, this stands out, I don't think this is going to fit a lot of golfers. It's going
Right.
to work for somebody. Like I'll go back prior gen Kirkland, right?
Spinniest
That
golf ball on the planet.
that is a great example, right? That ball
Yeah.
spun off absolutely every club.
Like a
So I'm going to
top.
tell you, from a strictly performance perspective, it's not a good fit for a lot of golfers.
Yeah. Maybe
Most
one
guys
out of a
aren't
hundred.
looking. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's not kind of that middle of the market thing, but there is a guy that works for. So
Mm-hmm.
again, just a unique offering, just not one we would necessarily recommend to a lot of golfers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm glad you pointed that out too, because on the other side, like you said, this is a performance story. So what you need, it's kind of like a size. Some people have very unique attributes for clothing. They don't just always fit a stock medium shirt, right? And so some people have longer arms, shorter arms. I mean, imagine somebody with, a really short torso and really long legs. They need different clothing, but your average, 5'10" male is kind of the Pro V1, right, of the world. And, so long as they have, relatively balanced attributes and whatever, but um, it's not to say that one is better than the other. You got to find what works for you. So how do we, I'm kind of looking at our top picks for high swing speed, maybe start there. How did we get to a place where we're recommending balls? If it's basically, hey, golf balls fit different people, why would we suggest certain balls over others?
Because the boss told me to. But like it's like, well, it's funny, right? Golfers want to be told, many of them, what to try, and so we're trying to give you 9 good options, and we've classified by low, mid, and high spin, and to the extent possible, that low, for example, across the low spin option, we have
Mm-hmm.
a low flight and mid flight and a high flight option. Now, this is not a perfect science, because you do have balls like,
Sure.
and you do get one like, hey, this is, for example, high spin throughout the bag, or it's high flight throughout the bag. But a lot of times you get, well, it's kind of on the low end here and the mid to high end here, and so you're kind of averaging to an extent
Sure.
irons and drivers, and try and get to something that, again, gives you a reasonable idea of flight and spin properties, while also giving you options to choose from. So,
Mm-hmm.
we do have some insight. A lot of these balls we have tested. We know an extent what the quality is. And then again, it's like, hey, did this stand out? So I'm looking for stuff that, did it stand out for one reason or another? Do we know that, or do we believe at least that it's a good quality option? Because I don't want to recommend a poorly made, a low quality golf ball if I know
Sure.
that's the case. And from there, it's like, am I getting you a range? And kind of the last thing, right? Did we? And this kind of, it lines up with the previous. Well, also a couple other points, right? I'm, for the most part, try and avoid anything that's really short, right? Like, because
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be able to get the launch and spin you need for the most part without sacrificing speed. So kind of eliminate things that are at the bottom of the distance table. I'm going to tell you,
Right.
should never really prioritize distance with a golf ball, but you shouldn't also sacrifice it for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's an
So
easy
that,
thing because there are so many good options. If I just look at the distance table and said, hey, I'm going to cut off the bottom 20%, 30%, whatever, I'm probably not sacrificing something that's an exceptional performer in other places, right? So it's not like I'm going to give up something else. Like, oh man, you just got round, you just cut your first round draft pick by focusing on not playing a shorter golf ball.
Yeah, and then again ties into the quality a little bit, but as we've talked about, like quantifying dispersion in a test of this size is really difficult because you literally have golf balls being hit hours apart.
Right.
Even
Right.
we do the best to consolidate in groups. Like it's a scale, and trying to account for wind and temperature and other environmental changes throughout the day and still make a fair evaluation of distribution and dispersion is tricky.
Yep.
Now, having said that, there is the eyeball test, right? It's not
The
necessarily
cuckoo ball test.
right. It's not purely a scientific method, but I'm telling anybody who wants to hear this is interested. Like, you watch enough balls get hit with a robot, you're going to be able to tell the difference. You will know wind versus other, and that other can be an aerodynamic problem, like uneven paint on the cover, for example, off-center cores,
Dimple
uneven
depth.
mantle layers, right? There's a lot of things that can go wrong, and when you hit that ball, you see it. And so one of the other things we did, kind of the last step here, is like, did we see any cuckoo balls? Were there cuckoo balls, and were they severe enough where I'm like, I am uneasy / uncomfortable recommending this golf ball?
Yeah, that's
So,
disqualifying, right? Where we did that minus some rogue guy with some clippers or scissors that may have cut into a ball or two to stage a bad ball flight or cuckoo ball flight. Not sure who would have endeavored such a
that was
thing,
fun.
but
That was fun.
that was fun. I mean, and to your point on the eyeball test, it is real. Like, I don't know that I would have believed it necessarily as much, but after doing this several years and then sitting there, right, and you're watching ball after ball after ball come out, certain window, sound, launch. When something deviates from that, once you've seen it 100 times, 1,000 times, over and over and over, and something just deviates slightly, it's almost like a involuntary reaction. You're kind of like, hey, do you see that? Whoa, what was
And
that?
we a lot of times too, we talk about, almost all the time that we talk about this kind of thing, we've talked about it in terms of left to right distribution.
Yeah.
But you and I have also seen situations where you will tee up two models back to back, or the same model back to back, and the flight windows, right? That height, that peak trajectory is going to be wildly different. And that shouldn't happen either. That's cuckoo balls too. It's a straight cuckoo ball, but you want the balls should fly through the same window. You hit two balls back to back of the same model, barring any seismic shift in environmental conditions.
Yeah.
They should fly pretty much the same. And when they don't,
Aerodynamics.
whether that's left to right or top to bottom, so to speak, we're like, yeah, that's no bueno, man. That's not good. So
Yeah.
cuckoo balls out.
So if you're a high swing speed player, so again, driver, we're talking 110 and up. We did this at 116, I think, is where we netted out. Our target was roughly 115, netted out right at, I think, kind of an average of 116.
Yeah,
Low
really,
spin,
like super close to where I wanted to be. I'm happy. So,
it was great. I mean, I thought, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for something that is low spin, so we're talking left dash, Vice Pro Air, Mizuno Pro S. Anything jump out to you there? Super surprising.
That actually should be, so that's looks like we found a glitch in the graphic. That should be Pro Plus up there, not Pro Air.
Oh,
And
okay.
again, that's one too where it's like the spin, like you could argue it's more mid. And again, like we're just trying to find good balls to kind of plug in here. So yeah, Mizuno Tour S, pound for pound, maybe for me the most interesting ball in the test. And that's not to say I'm gonna play it. It's because it tends to in most conditions be relatively low flight with low-ish spin, I think. And in some scenarios, like I want to say, I don't have it right in front of me, kind of scrolling as I go here, but
Yeah.
I want to say, like, in one scenario, it was the longest ball we tested off irons. And I think at low swing speed, it was the shortest. So this tells me, right, there is a fitting component always.
Sure.
But it's just one of those where the properties of the ball were unique within the test.
Yeah. Yeah, when I look at the
Left.
mid spin ones, what's interesting to me, two things. One, so mid spin is Titleist Pro V1, Titleist Pro V1X, and then Callaway Chrome Tour Triple Diamond. If there's a darling of this test, if that were an award, I think Triple Diamond would certainly be on the podium. It'd certainly be up for discussion for a variety of reasons. But how do we end up with Pro V1, Pro V1X, both in that mid spin category? Because Titleist will tell you, right, that people compare Pro V1X is probably a little higher spinning than Pro V1 is, but they're still relatively mid spin balls when compared to the masses.
Yeah, exactly that. They're not. Yes, Pro V1X spins more than Pro V1 in Titleist's retail lineup. Excluding those custom performance options, generally star balls, right? Anything
Or
with
double
a
dots.
yeah, well, dot goes the other way, but basically,
Yeah,
yeah,
those are the
anything with a mark to the right of it that's going to spin more, right? Just the retail offerings.
yeah.
It's Titleist's highest spinning ball, but if you look at the market as a whole, it's here it's mid table, give or
Yeah.
take. So it's not a super high spin ball, and that's part of why it's been so successful. If you take a ball and you make it spin a lot off a driver, guys aren't going to want to play that at any level. Tour, average, so yeah, it just doesn't work. And so that's kind of it's a higher spinning Titleist ball, but looking at the table, it's kind of in the middle. And
And
again, on the irons, it's a little higher, but you got to plug in everything. And again, it's like to an extent, I'm like, what do I feel like at high speed?
right.
You watched the test. You were out there for at least the driver portion. I saw bits and pieces, and I have the data for the iron portion. At the higher speed, like, look, Pro V1's an excellent golf ball. We know what that is. Cover to core and back again.
Yep.
Like, there's no scenario, almost no scenario in which Pro V1 doesn't hit the board in some way.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Triple Diamond, like you said, if there's going to be a darling of the test, they're certainly kind of the eye opener. Like, this is it. And, to me, if you're asking, like, what the surprise of Triple Diamond was, it actually spun a fair amount more than I expected, right? It's not that left dash direct competitor from a spin perspective. And so that tells me, hey, a lot of this, they're going to be similar speed. We see that. Triple Diamond tested a little faster, but again, right?
We're talking tenths of miles an hour,
And the
stuff,
USGA rules are rigid. So if you're going to pull the speed lever, something else has to. I don't want to say cripple the ball, but you have to dial it back a little bit, right? You have to figure out a way to whether
you can't
that's
go
adding
full
spin,
bore on,
or whether that's adding spin, whether it's tuning the arrow so that it's not everything that it absolutely positively could be, because you've got to stay within these rules. So you're like anything else, you're pulling levers, but that ball stood out again. Pro V1 X. It's never, especially at high speed and even into mid speed, it's never not going to be a recommended golf ball for me, because I know how good that. And that's the one. Like every test we've done, every test we've ever done. If you were to look at, again, that eyeball test with dispersion and just general performance, distance, everything, I would say, like, again, I'm very hesitant to say best ball. But if you're looking at an established history of outstanding performance for, what is this, ball test number 4 for us, I think?
I think that's right. Yeah. So
the Pro V1X is just an undeniable performer. Period. Hard stop. So
I think of it almost.
Be in there.
I think of it almost the opposite way, where it's like with recommended stuff too. Is like if somebody came up to me and said, "Hey, I play this golf ball," would I tell them, "Hey, you should probably go try these 2 or 3 as well? I think you might be pleasantly surprised," and same thing when people walk up and say, "Hey, I play these irons. What do you guys think? What do you see in your testing?" Right? If somebody walks up to me and says, "Hey, I play Pro V1. Is there something else I should look at?" Like, dude, if it fits you, no. Like, I'm not going to suggest you go find a different golf ball.
It is like, fun to try new things. And so it's like, you're always looking at like, I play Pro V1. I love the Pro V1. It performs really well for me.
Yeah.
What else can I try that's like it?
Yeah.
Like, I get it. Even though, like, it sounds ridiculous to me when I say it out loud, but I'm like, yeah, I get it. That's my mindset. Like, this ball works really well. I love everything about it. What else can I try?
What else can it? Yeah. Yeah. And then in the high spin category, we have a Bridgestone ball. So first time on the board in this category for a Bridgestone ball.
I thought the XS broadly. Again, tested better than last time. I think it's gotten a little faster.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it spins a little less off the driver than it did,
Yeah.
and just held up off irons. Like
And some of that's
this was to
eyeball
me.
test too. You're watching and I go, hey, that you see it, sometimes you would forget what ball it was you hit and you're like, oh, that looked good. That looked, hey, what was that? Oh, that looked good.
Yeah, I was
More
kind of surprised to see kind of where it like the ball speed was there. And again, like we're seeing a lot of this kind of a general trend in the test, not universally true, but something we saw a lot of is just kind of everybody got a little bit firmer than where they've been, perhaps.
mm-hmm.
I think the Tour BX for me, the XS, excuse me, was one where I was like, all right, that's it's still not ball speed's still not up there with off the driver with the fastest balls in golf, but for where that's been, like a low 80s compression ball, like that's
Mm-hmm.
a ball that was barely tour level compression. Like
Right.
it really impressed me. And then like Z Star Diamond, it's kind of a quirky ball. It's one of those ones that it really like how it flies, how it spins really depends on what you're hitting it with and how fast you're swinging. It's kind of like it moves around quite a bit on the charts, but again, eyeball test, right? Like this for me is the star in the Shrixon lineup, bar
The
none.
Z Star in the
Yeah, like this. Yeah, this is the Z star in the lineup. It's
Yeah.
Z star.
Z Star.
Yeah,
This is the best ball they've made, I think.
Yeah, in the of the star models, this is the only one that I would comfortably recommend because again, we get into the cuckoo balls. We've seen it
Seen some
generations
cuckoos.
of
Yep.
Z Star XV. Ball lab testing, we were doing that regularly. Like there was
Yep.
just always something, but
And some of
Z-Star
it was
Diamond,
place of manufacturer, right? We would see things
yeah,
from
and
some
but like
places, not
our
from
Z
others.
stars, these came from Indonesia, and there were a couple that we were maybe, initially when we hit them, we're like maybe, and then you go look at the distribution chart, like our scatter plot, and go, oh yeah, and you know what? That was actually the one we thought was offline. Actually, was fine. It's just you can kind of see what I call a wind progression, right? Where was a given ball relative to the one that was hit before it and the one that came after it? And if they kind of, if you see everything kind of shift, then like, oh, that's not the ball, that's just the weather. But sometimes you see the pattern goes this way and then a ball goes that
It
way.
was that way.
You're
Right.
like, no. So
Right.
yeah, and then the last one on the list here, the Wilson Staff Model X.
Yeah.
And these, it's.
And
I
foremost
mean, I would
balls,
say
man.
in terms of like underappreciated by the market in general, Chrome Tour X, I think, is just grossly underappreciated. Like and again, it's a spinnier ball and it's like a sub 2% market share, but that's another one since the first generation. We'll talk about the first generation.
Yeah.
But
But
our
where
last
it's
couple-
now relative to that,
Yeah,
like
that's
it's
again like if you need a little bit of spin and that ball's awesome and would have been the next one on the list here.
for sure.
But along similar lines, the Wilson Staff Model stuff. These are foremost made golf balls. The quality is outstanding.
Yep.
They're fast. Staff Model X again. It's a spinny ball, but that's why it's on the high spin list here. Not for everybody, but again, just Staff Model and Staff Model X, just excellent, absolutely excellent. I think the only mistake there is that they're priced higher than people are willing to pay for a Wilson ball.
Yeah.
But it's
That
if you
fine
price it, it's on par with like a Max Fly, right? It comes out of the same factory.
Same factory.
Really good quality.
Yeah.
Just again, I think if Wilson said, you know what, we're not going to try and compete at the $50 price point for $40, that's a that
no
to me
brainer
changes the
at that
equation.
point.
Take price out of it. It's an excellent golf ball.
Yeah. Yep. Let's go to mid swing speed. This is going to capture again. We're in that 100-mile-an-hour range, and this is going to capture again plus or minus more golfers than either side of that. And we see again some repeats from the high swing speed, notably the category we just talked about, high spin, Z-Star Diamond, and Wilson Staff Model X are repeats, and then the ball you just mentioned, Chrome Tour X. Like I said, that could have been interchangeable. Maybe that was the fourth one on the chart above.
We got. I mean,
but
look,
it's like
Left Dash and Pro V1 are here as well because again,
Yep.
it's just
the Vice Pro in this one again instead of Pro Plus. MaxFly Tour X in the low spin category here. Again, talking
Yeah,
about
and
another
that's
ball.
one where you're like, is it really low spin? I'm like, well, it's a good ball. It needs to be on the recommendation list. Where is the best fit I have for it? And that's where, kind of where it's landed. So,
Yep.
experiment with it, see what it does for you. But yeah, there. Tailor-made tour response. I
That
think
Did
pound
you
for
have a
pound,
tour response showing up on the recommended list before a TP5 or TP5X? I mean, there's going to
me,
be people
yes, but
going,
I know, right? I think, again, like
most
we've talked
people are
about
going to
this.
go, what? Why is
The
tour response?
yeah, the potential with TP5 and TP5X is outstanding, right?
Hmm.
That extra layer creates a lot of potential to really kind of tune that spin through the bag.
Hmm.
The caveat is when you've got 3 mantle layers, it gets really difficult to make them consistent, get them symmetrical over every 3 times, right? You need to be perfect 3 times with that mantle layer. And,
Hmm.
as we've seen in the last 3 tests, they don't do that all the time. You
Right.
get cuckoo balls with TP5 and TP5X. It's that simple. And I think in terms of performance, I certainly like what I saw from both balls better. I think they've
Hmm.
improved. I don't know that they're back to 2019, where that ball was just like, whoa, you know. But I like the direction they're headed. I just think they got to tighten up the quality control.
Hmm.
Tour response, 3-piece ball,
Not
easier to
five,
make,
right?
easier to make
Yeah.
consistently.
Yep.
It's one of those. It is super duper low spin, so not
It
a
is.
ball I would recommend for a lot of guys. But like, if you benefit from low spin and either you spin it's a bit like AVX in that, like, if you're a high speed guy who spins the shit out of the ball, you can get away with a tour response. If you're a mid or slow swing speed
Right.
player who's not going to pay a huge compression penalty and you're looking to juice distance with lower spin, tour response is an option. Like, and this is a ball,
Hmm.
like, you see it. It's one of those when you're kind of looking and shuffling the table, you're like, oh, there's tour response again. There's tour
Keeps
response
popping
again.
up.
So
Hmm.
pound for pound, I think the end to end, the best ball in the TaylorMade lineup. I'd like to see TP5,
I said the
TP5X.
potential.
Way more potential. They just got to get the manufacturing dialed, and it's just I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
What I do see is cuckoo balls. You saw them, I saw them.
Yeah.
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 So
PXG, Extreme Tour X, first
yeah,
ball on the chart for PXG here as well. They show up in the mid speed, right in the
yeah.
dead
I
center,
think
mid spin.
and both of the PXG. I think the last ball test, the first PXG kind of grabbed our attention a little bit, if only
Hmm.
because coming out of the same factory as the Kirkland,
Yep. We're
we
talking
we
about SM
expected.
Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, we expected spinny balls, we expected cuckoo balls, and
Yep.
it was on the spinnier side, for
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
But we didn't see the cuckoo balls. So we're like, all right,
Right.
there's the beginnings of something here.
Right.
This time around, and I don't think this is the least bit coincidental. Right? So we have PXG balls, spin comes down,
Hmm.
still no cuckoo balls.
Uh huh.
Just a very good, well-rounded product. And if you look at every speed, we had a great buy option and an ionomer option.
Hmm.
And the great buy option across the board was the Kirkland,
Right.
because I don't want to say like we didn't see anything that was a little, but there were no severe cuckoo balls, right? You got a little bit of a drift,
Yes.
but nothing like extreme cuckoo.
And we're putting an
Spin has
emphasis on value here, right? So it's
Right,
the value
absolutely.
ball. So
For what this ball costs, I wouldn't. I'm not. If I had one shot, right, pick any ball on the shelf, one shot closest to the pin wins $1 million. I'm not taking a Kirkland. In no world do I take this Kirkland ball.
right.
But if you're looking to go out and play a well-rounded golf ball at an inexpensive price, urethane cover at
Right.
this price point, nothing's close. The only thing that's even close at the price point is the Sam's ball.
Right. And it's not
And
that close in terms like when
no,
we like
no cuckoo balls.
lots of cuckoo balls.
Yeah, so no good on the Sam's ball. Kirkland, different story. But the point I was beginning to make before I got sidetracked, PXG has, and we've been talking to them since day one of this ball. They're like, yeah, the first batch, look, we're going to be honest with you, quality wasn't what we wanted it to be. We went back to the factory. We've pushed them. They've continued to push them. All of a sudden you have two very solidly performing PXG golf balls, and you have a Kirkland now that has had a massive spin reduction. Much, much more like, say, a PXG ball. And I'm not saying they're the same ball. What I'm saying is
they come out of the same factory.
Yeah. Yet it's very evident that basically whatever screws PXG tightened have trickled down to the benefit of the Kirkland. So
and
that
potentially
ball has
others. We haven't
whatever's coming out of there is going to be better, right? You don't. It's very difficult to say, all right, this is the production line where we make the good golf balls, and here's the one where a separate assembly line where we put all our lousy employees who don't pay attention to anything, and we don't maintain the equipment. Like that's not how, for the most part, ball factories run. Right. So Kirkland has benefited from PXG. If there's a knock on the Kirkland, they may have dialed the spin back too far in some cases. I'm not going to say it's a terrible thing, but you took a ball that was the highest spinning around the green, and I'd have to pull it up to confirm, but I believe it is now like the lowest, if not, or certainly among the lower. I was
going to say it's towards the bottom now in
of
terms
the urethane
of spin on the urethane balls.
They may have dialed it back a little bit there, but in terms of end-to-end playability, it's a much better ball, I think.
Yeah, and for the price, like you said, when we're looking at a great buy, we're looking at that. What are you getting per dollar spent? And it's hard to make an argument that you're getting an awful lot for what you're paying. Yeah,
and while we're in the mid-speed section, if you look, we also made an ionomer recommendation, and at high speed and low speed, I think I chose Ulti-Speed both times.
Yep, correct.
This middle speed recommendation, Titleist Tour Soft.
Yeah.
And this is the one ball, like in every test, like we know what our readers goes through their mind. We know kind of how most of them think. Right. And in every test, there's always one ball where I'm like, this is the one that's going to make people think we fuck something up. Right. And I looked at this Tour Soft and I'm like,
that's going to be
what is going on with this thing?
Did we mislabel it? Did we? What
it's
did
long.
We do?
It provides good spin. I would argue maybe too much spin in some scenarios. Now, don't get me wrong. When you get to greenside, it's very clear this is an ionomer golf ball.
Right.
Like that's where it ceases to hold up. But everywhere else that we tested, it holds up. It's reasonably fast. I think you have to attribute something to the aerodynamic package, right? As they do with every ball, Titleist has a unique aero package developed just for this ball.
Yep.
And so it holds up as long off the driver. Good. If you look at kind of flight and spin on irons, it's like, this isn't bad. Like I said, greenside is a liability. But otherwise, I'm like, holy shit, what is with this golf ball? And Titleist has been in my ear for 2 years going, look, man,
this ball's really good. This
is the best ionomer ball in the market. I'm like, whatever. Tour Soft, whatever. And then you realize, too, the other ripple here is Tour Soft in the name. The emphasis is really on the tour and not the soft. This ball is almost 90 compression. It's very similar compression to a Pro V1. Right. And so when we kind of looked at that, we're like, okay, so
it's not called Titleist Soft Tour. It's Tour Soft.
This is not like almost like True Feel, right? This is not True Feel soft. It's definitely not Super Soft. Right. This is Tour Soft, which means right around high 80s to 90 compression. Right. So that's why it holds up. But at the same time, I'm like, oh my god, what is this? What is going on? But it's one of those things where you look at it, right? You're out there watching it fly. You're looking at the numbers as they come in real time.
This is a really good ball. Yeah.
Like, what is this? This is nonsense. But so if you want to pay $40 for an ionomer ball, and I don't suggest you do, this would be the one I would
This would be the one.
If I absolutely, positively had to spend $40, no more, no less, on an ionomer ball, Titleist Tour Soft.
I thought, when we come up with like cuckoo ideas for, member events and tournament stuff, whatever, like I said, if you had an event where you had to play an ionomer ball, where it was like ionomer only. Okay.
Tour Soft. Yeah, it's
Tour
not.
Soft.
It's not even close. And again, under some circumstances, like again, ulti-speed, if you are looking for distance, as a lot of guys playing those ionomer balls are,
Uh-huh.
ulti-speed holds up really well too. That one,
Yeah.
that's another one we just looked at. We're like, whoa, this looks really good. And again, same situation with Torsoft. You get that thing around the green and forget about it. It's very clear it's an ionomer ball.
Yes.
But it's another one. Like if you're looking, and that one's $10. That one's $10 less. So
Yeah.
if you absolutely positively had to spend $30 on an ionomer ball,
Yes.
Ulti Speed. If you
Ultra
want to spend
speed.
40, Torsoft. I'm still going to tell you for less money. If you're trying to spend as little as possible, get the Kirkland. If you're trying to spend, 30 to 40 on a really good ball, get a Max Fly or maybe a Vice. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Again, same factory, and again we see it show up in the low swing speed results here as well. Some people are probably starting to notice a theme, if you will, in terms of recommendations. We're seeing brands like Wilson pop up once on a screen. This time it's twice. Again, you're going to see plenty of Titleist. We got two of those. Bridgestone, two of those. A Vice, PXG. It's, you know, I think it's okay, and I think it's fair for people to look through that recommended list and start noticing some trends. There's basically 27 golf balls, not counting the great buyer or ionomer part. And then you start going, okay, what are the most recommended brands? I think you can kind of connect some dots there and go, yeah, this
it's
seems
yeah,
pretty
it's
fair.
it's part of it is like what do we know about the quality? We know what we're getting with Titleist. We know for the most part what we're getting with Foremost. And so, but for looking at this list, right? Wilson, Foremost. Max Fly, Foremost.
Vice.
Foremost. Wilson again, Foremost.
Right. Right.
Should point out the Bridgestone Tour B RX is an interesting one too. We've gotten a couple questions on. That
Yeah.
was another one where like, this looks faster. And
Then it
that
has
was kind of on our gauges,
Yeah.
mid to high 70s. So, topping out in the low 80s because there's always a range, right? You're
Yeah,
never
we're
like,
talking
oh, it's 80.
compression here, right? So
Right.
that's a soft.
It's never like, oh, it's a 75 compression ball. They're all 75. No, like it's a
No.
target and there's a range and everything plots on a curve.
Right.
This ball, what we measured, and I say what we measured because I almost don't believe it. Like, did we kind of measure kind of a funky batch? But like high 80s compression. So, and to me that makes sense. I would have argued all along. And again, I don't know for sure that this is by design or by accident. I hope it's by design. But I would have argued all along that the RX and the RXS were probably too similar.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you get this one's soft and this one's a little bit softer, and otherwise they fly and spin pretty much the same. Plus or minus
A lot of
what you would
overlap,
expect
but yeah.
yeah. And so now, if you look at the lineup, they've got all right, with RXS is our soft urethane offering. We've got RX, which is more of a direct Pro V1 competitor based on what we saw and how it measured out than it is. XS is similar compression, but wildly different spin properties. Like that ball, just hit that with an iron, you hit that with a wedge. It's going to go.
Like you said,
go.
yeah.
And then at the upper end, kind of that higher compression, high speed, tick lower spin, the BX. Which again, that's one we just saw an uncomfortable number of cuckoo balls.
Right. Right.
So, but otherwise, yeah, still on performance alone,
Yeah.
you have a better distribution again based on what we saw and what we measured than in previous iterations of Bridgestone. So
Yep. So I'm going to look through the list. I'm going to figure out kind of where my category is, high, mid, low, look at this stuff. And I'm going to find 2 or 3 balls, get a sleeve of each, and I'm going to go try them. How should I try them? Like, what would your advice be to someone who says, okay, hey, this is cool. Like I said, I mean, I played Pro V1X for quite a while. I am curious about a couple other balls in there. Again, not that I think I'm going to switch, but the Chrome Tour X, absolutely. Wilson, Staff Model X, definitely want to try those two. So how would you suggest that I would take those balls and go compare them?
So the conventional wisdom is to start around the green and move back. So start with wedges around the green, and I think it's not a bad way to do it. I've found that ball fitting is fitting, right? It's just like club fitting, only you're only paying attention to the ball. So that's kind of a routine. But what I've found is kind of doing ball fitting on my own, around the house or on the course, however you want to do it, is
Hopefully
it almost becomes a process of elimination, right? Like, all right, let's take 5 balls, let's hit them greenside, let's look at spin rates or whatever it is you're looking for, and go, yeah, these 3 work, these 2 aren't getting it done. I'm gonna put them aside, right? And then move to the irons. Maybe you take a second look at one that maybe was close on the green but not quite, and so just kind of hit them with different clubs in different scenarios and just start eliminating things, and eventually you'll land on 1 or 2, and then you can just go play around a golf with them.
Yeah, I think that's the wonderful thing about adjustability, particularly in metalwoods, is that I wouldn't worry too much about the gapping part or maximizing distance part with metalwoods, because it's super easy to change the setting, right? Go up a degree, down a degree, a little bit flatter, a little bit more upright, whatever the case is. It's like, just because your driver's set at 10 degrees right now and that's optimal, doesn't mean that if you change a ball or you go, oh, okay, well, I need to put this up to 11 because it's a little lower spinning or whatever. Great. You can do that, right? You can do it with your driver, your 3-wood, your hybrid, your 5-wood, 7-wood, whatever. For the most part, they're adjustable.
And that's the thing that, like, I'm not one of these guys who will go, hey, all golf balls fly the same off the driver.
Right.
That borders on nonsensical, but you will find that there is less difference off the driver, which means more opportunity to make, get back to where you were with the tools you have at your availability with the driver, than there are on wedges. You look, it's astonishing to me that on a 35-yard shot, we saw 7 degrees of difference in launch angle.
Right.
And spin rates were, I want to say, from lowest to highest is nearly a factor of 3. Just absolute. So I'm going to pull this up. So
yeah, there's massive differences there, regardless of
yeah,
I know
it's crazy. So every one of these shots was 44 point something mile an hour ball speed, right? A couple in the high 43 range.
Okay. Yeah, less than a mile an hour difference. Yeah.
Yeah, so the highest launching ball, Titleist velocity at 43 miles an hour at club speed, 35.77
Okay.
launch angle, so call it 36 for easy math that I can handle.
Okay.
And, Bridgestone BXS, lowest launching at 28.67. So, I think that's, if I remember correctly, I'm not going to do the math, upwards of 7 degrees, right? Just about.
Yeah.
And then looking at spin rates.
Which is a lot. BTW.
Yeah. And then this is astonishing. And again, so lowest spinning ball, Titleist velocity again. Hey, look, as we talked about this way, the Ironman, these balls are designed primarily to do one thing well. Its velocity is designed to go far. It's designed to be cheap and then go far. So it's inexpensive and far. That's where it fits.
Yeah.
Spin rate on a 35-yard wedge shot, 2,058 RPMs. So, if I could get that with my driver, I would be really happy. I don't love it with a wedge in any situation, but with my driver, I like it. And then you look at the highest spinning, no surprise, TP5 at over 6,000 RPM. So it's like, 4,500 difference, something like that, or 3,500.
Yeah, which is massive. I mean,
crazy.
What you're getting into, I think.
No, like 4,000. Yeah.
It's worth
crazy.
Worth mentioning quickly is some of our just big picture takeaways, and we've already mentioned these kind of throughout the show, but just to put like a button on some of those. There are, what you're talking about right now, there are absolutely major differences between golf balls and performance. And, this is number 0.5, I think, the biggest performance differences may not be where you think they're going to be, which is what you just pointed out there. And I was having a discussion with a guy the other day. So well, basically, the ionomer ball. He wasn't calling him ionomer. He didn't know what to call it. He's like, well, why wouldn't I play that? And you said, well, it holds up, but to a point. There isn't an ionomer ball that's going to give you performance inside 50 yards, maybe even more than that a urethane golf ball is going to give you. Like that. That is the great divide between ionomer and urethane,
Yeah.
right? Is
Loosely, please don't text me. You know who you are, but loosely, right? If a Torsoft had an ionomer cover,
right,
it would be a Pro
cover.
V1.
Yeah,
Right?
if a
Yeah,
Tour Soft
exactly.
had a urethane cover,
excuse
yeah,
me.
it'd be a Pro
It'd be
V1.
Pro
Yeah.
V1. Like
Right.
and that's where that difference is. And so yeah, but there's a cost associated with that.
Yes. And we've pointed
Yeah,
out.
so that was surprising too. Like, yeah, the holy shit, massive differences on wedges that we haven't looked at before, and mostly because we've never tested this many ionomers.
Yeah.
So kind of having that whole pool, and you look like at the spin chart, it's
Yep.
the entire bottom like is all the ionomer balls. There's nothing that kind of leaks. Right, it is a very clear line of differentiation.
Yes. If it's ionomer, it's going to not spin almost universally. If it's your thing, you're going to get a range of spin profiles, throughout the bag, but you're never
I'm
going.
looking at it like ERC soft Callaway ball, which again,
Yeah.
cuckoo balls. Not
Yeah, we
one
had
I
some
would-
cuckoo on that one.
It's basically 300 RPM less spin than the Mizuno Pro S, which was the lowest spinning urethane ball on the list.
Yep.
So it's creeping in there.
Uh-huh.
But again, like you're basically having to reach that area of like on its best day, a high spin urethane or ionomer ball can't touch a very low spin urethane ball
Right.
on
Right.
those situations. So
Yeah, and a couple of the other major takeaways we already talked about. A lot of things that have changed. You mentioned Kirkland and why. Again, another call out for MaxFly Tour X. Last time we tested it, it didn't have the presence on tour that it does now. I mean, obviously Ben Griffin having a great year, etc. Could be a MaxFly ball that ends up in the Ryder Cup, which would be a remarkable achievement for effectively what is a house brand. So, you have that. We talked about you don't have to spend $50 to get a good golf ball. Where some of those, components are. It doesn't have to be. It's not just launch angle, trajectory throughout the bag, all that kind of stuff. What to you is the biggest takeaway having done these tests? Seeing test over test over test over test. What are your biggest? If you had 10 ball commandments, according to Tony, what would you chisel in those 10?
yeah, I don't know if I can get to 10. I mean,
You don't need 10.
this list.
What would be
I
on
think like
them,
kind
though?
of the one thing like we kind of hint at it here a little bit. You mentioned it too, right? It's not launch angle, it's trajectory.
Yeah.
And again, it's a little bit of a different experience. It's obviously more precise, I guess, to a degree, when you can watch a robot just over the course of the day hit 44 different models, and you start to see like that flight window move up and down, where the only thing is changing is the golf ball, and that peak height move up and down. And when you're standing at the dangerous end of the range, watching the way they land and seeing the dramatic difference. We talked last time, right? Super soft, not to pick on super soft too much, but like that was one. We're out there and we're looking up in the sky because we're marking the balls at high speed last test, and so we're like, all right, here it is, here's it's coming. We gotta make sure that we mark where it came in so we get a good distance number. And we're looking up in the sky because everything's coming down in a relatively similar window, and super soft comes in, it almost feels like it's at eye level.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of thing where if you're standing at the tee box, as we all are when we hit our golf balls, you're never going to notice. But you definitely see it at the other end, and you're like, wow, that's really different. And again, that's a case of that really different might work for somebody, but probably not for most guys. And it's, again, like that ball, that's an example of, hey, it's pretty much designed to be one thing. Like it's soft. It's right in the name. It's super soft. Also cheap. Like that's like we need to hit a price point with something that's going to make people feel good when they hit it, and that's how you get there.
Yeah, I think those big, like I said, it's trajectory like it goes to one of my big takeaways after seeing this in the last couple ones. Aerodynamics matter. Like, of all the things we talk about in a golf ball, again, we can measure compression. We look at consistency in manufacturing. We look at the different profiles, how many layers it has, etc. Aerodynamics matters so much more than I gave it credit for initially.
Yeah,
I did not think it was as big of a deal as it is until you see two golf balls that have the same core, or same aero package, but they're on different core mantle configurations. And you go, well, why would you ever put two of the same aero packages on two different balls? Well, it's cheaper. It's really, really expensive to design a different aero package for
it's
every different
hard.
golf
It's
ball. And
hard.
it's hard. It's dimple depth, it's curvature, it's the radius, it's all these things that it's like, man, like I might go as far as say like aerodynamics might be the most important part of a golf ball that people don't talk about.
Oh, for sure. And we like that's one where we get a lot of questions that always start with either how come or some insinuation that the test is total bullshit,
Right.
and it'll be something like, well, one we got was I want to say it was Chrome Tour. I'm not positive it's Chrome Tour, but I think the comment was Chrome Tour, and it was definitely versus the Sam's member mark. And he's like, look, they have almost the same ball speed, almost the same launch, and nearly identical spins, and the Chrome Tour is quite a bit longer. How is this possible? And I was like, well, look, I'm not in a position to say that Callaway has best in class aerodynamics, but the aero on the Callaway balls, it's not bad by any stretch. Like it's we know it's pretty solid, and we've
And
certainly
likely
seen that
better than members mark.
and they certainly have an ability to dial it in, right? We mentioned triple diamond. Like, all right, maybe
Yeah.
we've got the speed. We need to take a little something off it. Let's dial that in somehow without compromising the overall integrity of the flight. Like they're good at that kind of stuff. We see it. The members mark. We tested it alongside the Kirkland, right? There's some strong indications that, especially when you get into iron level contact, that aero package borders on dog shit. Like it does not hold up.
Right.
And so yeah, like when it goes, well, how come? I'm like, it's almost certainly the aerodynamics.
Yes.
Like it's one of those things you're not going to give a second glance to because like, well, this one has dimples and this one has dimples, so cool.
Right.
Like, no, not cool.
No.
Definitely not cool.
No. No. Exactly. I mean, there's a kid in class in middle school that knew how to make a paper airplane, and there's another kid that had the same technique, same paper, same everything, and didn't know how to make a paper airplane, and then they threw them, and you wonder why did one fly so much better than the other one? Well,
Same paper, right? Like it's
same
all
paper, same
They
amount of
both have
thrust
lines.
behind it, same launch angle, same speed being put into it, whatever. And one crumpled and crashed, and whatever, and the other one just, well, there's something to that. There's
Yeah,
definitely
and
something to that. Any other major takeaways, Tony? You feel like,
yeah, it's not so much a takeaway, just a reminder.
yeah,
And I think most of the people who listen to No Putts Given understand this, but like we give you carry and we give you total yardage numbers because everybody wants to know what ball is the longest or they want to see some kind of distance value. We cannot exclude it and not get a tremendous amount of blowback, right? A lot of people, and I'll
right,
tell you, it's not going to be the most important thing, but a lot of people have been conditioned to look for distance first with all things golf, with the exception of putters and maybe a wedge. So just understand that these distance numbers are always prefaced with under the conditions tested, right? We wanted to hit kind of a normal range for our launch and spin targets. Like the speed is the speed, right? The fastest balls are going to be the fastest balls.
right,
But if you create higher launch or more spin or less spin, your total distance value and even kind of how balls fall on the table, that's going to be what is most individualized. So just be aware of that. Like, yeah, we gave you a carry, gave you a total, tried our best to explain like it is very much golfer dependent. Understand that. But understand that everything else is going to be pretty much consistent throughout. A ball that spins more at your swing speed, everything's probably going to fall pretty much in line the same way. So,
yeah, yeah, and my final parting shot would be is that any test is ultimately a guide. It's there's certain things that you can say that are definitive in a sense. Like we can make comparisons, A versus B, like you said, speed, launch, these things. But in terms of what makes a golf ball good is what makes it good for you. And so you really
And
have
how
to
well they made
figure
it at the
out
factory, which
and
is
how well they made it at the factory. So if I'm between two golf balls, like I said, Pro V1X, what I play, the balls that I'm excited to test next to it, again, not because I think I'm going to switch or anything, but we've already done the vetting on the manufacturing side. So if I say, hey, MaxFly Tour X or the Wilson Staff, whatever, or um, Chrome Tour X, we've tested enough of those to see that, okay, I'm not concerned about the manufacturing part. Now I can just focus on the performance attribute part. That's my
for
final.
sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we're going to chop and slice and dice and cut up this information 140,000 different ways. So this is but the tip of the old proverbial iceberg. We have a lot more information coming out. You're going to have questions. Ask us questions. Particularly address them to Tony. If you need a cell phone number, let me know. I'll happily send it to you. He'd like nothing more than to field your calls and yeah, I know. That's a lot of golf ball stuff, Tony.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Well, until next time then. We out.